right. Um, so I am coming on to speak to successful, high achieving women who are here who want to find your life partner, and you are serious about doing that in 2022. So, I'm going to talk about how to stop dating men like you approach your career, your business, and to start approaching dating like a high value feminine woman and what that means. So, I'm going to talk about pitfalls of success conditioning in a masculine energy dominated society when it comes to dating and love, masculine versus feminine energy, and the worthiness wound in the high value woman. So, just to start with, right now, the applications are open for my one on one coaching program for 3 or 6 months together. Spots are opening up in January, they are limited. So, DM me if you would like to get the application and set up a consultation call to talk about working together there. So, today I want to talk about dating from a feminine versus a masculine energy for my boss women, women who are highly successful, who are high achievers, who have a lot of responsibility in their careers, have done really well, maybe running businesses, and are stuck with finding the right man, with finding that life partner. So, I want to talk about how the reasons you are successful in your career is also why a part of why you are struggling with finding that right man and struggling in dating. So, if you've been following me, you know that I have a one on one program that has literally had phenomenal results for women who are looking for their life partners. My clients regularly meet their dream men who become their long term boyfriends, who they move in with, who they see the rest of their lives with, within 2 to 5 months of the start of coaching. And the man they meet is the one. They don't have to keep cycling through hundreds of men to find him in more trial and error. So, what I've done is essentially bringing together all the years of dating expertise that I have. I spent 11 years studying men and women in dating, attraction, communication, polarity, relationships with the best of the best teachers and researchers on these topics, as well as the inner portion that is healing wounds and subconscious beliefs and blocks and the patterns that come from them. So, both that inner knowledge and outer knowledge, and then the inner work that goes with it, because it's not enough to just have an idea of like what to do or have a lot of knowledge about yourself or I don't know, blocks that you have, but you need to actually be able to apply it, integrate it, and shift and change, transformation, and to apply information practically, which means rewiring some old programming. So, out of this, and really my reason for being so fascinated with this for the last 11 years and really mastering it myself, is that it comes from my own personal experience, and honestly a ton of failures with dating for myself in my 20s, which included heartbreak. I had one heartbreak that took me over 3 years to really get over. Tons of anxiety that I would experience when I really liked someone, abandonment wounds that would surface that I literally didn't know I had, until I started meeting people I really liked and dating, that I later realized was coming from the loss of my dad when I was 5, that impacted me in enormous ways in my romantic life and everywhere else, but really not so much everywhere else. It really only would show up there because I was that really high achiever, very successful in the work and the school part of my life, that even the friendship part of my life, everything else except for love. But I had stored trauma and wounds and all this junk in me that I wasn't aware of, that had created an anxious and then later a fearful avoidant attachment style, and a whole system of beliefs and a way of choosing partners that literally worked against me being able to find a long-term partner who was stable, secure, consistent, committed, and healthy, right for me. And those wounds I only realized I had after tons of failed attempts at dating and relationships and trying to find the right man, when I finally was like, okay, like it must be me, but what is it, right? So I finally put all of that practical knowledge as well as the inner work piece of how to date, and the inner work necessary for that together. I put it in one place in how I run my one-on-one coaching program and the work I do with my one-on-one clients. It's basically now a map and a blueprint for finding that kind of fulfilling relationship. So my clients are getting support with the inner work, diving into their specific unconscious blocks and patterns and the beliefs that they have, as well as the practical of like, how the heck do you date? How do you find him, identify him? Where do you find him? And the behaviors that help and the behaviors that hurt with that. So these are things that go against pretty much everything that you learned in your career as a very successful woman, and that has made you so successful there and in so many other places in your life. Those things that you are doing there are working against you in finding that lasting relationship with a man who is truly devoted, committed, and wants only you. So we're not talking about just the man that you want, but who is unavailable on some level, but that match, right? You want him, he wants you. So there is a skill to learn. There's an approach you need to take that is different than any other area of your life. And so a lot of this has to do with how you are approaching dating. And sometimes there's the inner work around why you're doing what you're doing, right? But my purpose is to help women who are already doing really well in their lives. They have the lifestyle, they have the, like six-figure, close to six-figure plus career or business. They have an amazing friend group, a fulfilling life. They are impacting lives. They are creating amazing businesses. They are doing amazing things, and all of that is fulfilling, and they are happy. But they're not looking to fix anything that is broken. They just want more. They really want that incredible relationship, and they want that partner to do life with. That's the one piece that is missing. So they want that partner who they get the romance, the emotional and the physical connection. They want that man who's going to be the strong force in their lives, who they can feel safe with, who they can trust, who they can release and lean back a little bit with. They want a family eventually. They want to expand their love. They have so much love to give. But on a personal level, like they don't have the appropriate place to put all of that, right? Like you have your friends, but they have their partners and children, right? It's not the same. A best friend isn't the same as your husband, your boyfriend who will be your husband, your life partner, your own family. So what I know is that you're not just held back in love, although it may feel like that, but these patterns that show up with men are probably showing up subconsciously in other parts of your life and in other relationships, but it just might not be holding you back there. And often these things like helped you to have success in your career, but then now are holding you back in love. So if there's an abandonment wound, you probably aren't fully asking for what you need or are afraid to. You aren't fully being all yourself with people, with men you're dating. Maybe you're people pleasing, not saying no or asking for what you need. You're hiding parts of yourself that you think are too much or not good enough. You are rejecting parts of yourself. So your relationships aren't as deep as they could be. And you've got this wall up to protect yourself that a man can't penetrate, because getting really close is actually quite scary for you. So he can't fully see you because you aren't letting him in, and you're choosing men who aren't fully available because it feels safer than the man who's like, I want all of you, give me all of you. But also because a part of you isn't fully available either. That's the intimacy is scary piece. This all goes back to like an abandonment stuff. There's the fear that if you found that perfect man, that he would realize you aren't perfect or confident as you appear to be, or whatever it is you present as, and that there could be rejection, you could be hurt, you could be used. If there's a fear of not being enough, it's shown up as performing, pretending, sometimes overgiving, overextending, working really hard, doing it all on your own, that hyper independence, achieving things to get worth from that. And there's an anxiety behind the scenes that other people don't see that pushes you to succeed in your career, to find that place that you feel good enough to prove something, maybe to dad. So as a successful woman in this world, in this society, you learned how to be successful. You learned how to achieve, how to work hard, how to push yourself and meet expectations and play the game. And there is this outer persona of perfection and independence that kind of like, I've got it all together, I've got it all figured out, I don't need anyone. And behind the scenes, you do feel alone though. Like you really want love, you want that partner to do life with, and you feel exhausted from holding it all up on your own, even though you're really good at it. So you really want to be able to just have that place in your life where you can relax, where you can lean back, where you can know you aren't in it alone and you don't have to do everything, that he is leading the relationship, that you're doing life together, you're building something together. And you want to feel like you can just let go and breathe and be a woman in your relationship. So you don't want to give your whole life to work anymore. You've gotten somewhere that gives you the life that you want, and now you want love. And yes, maybe there are intimacy fears, maybe there are negative self-beliefs or limiting beliefs like I can't have it all, or what I want is unrealistic or too much, my expectations are too high. I don't know. Any of those are pretty common with really high achieving women. And then there are some blocks to finding him that literally have to do with your conditioning in society as a highly successful, high achieving woman, that have taught you that one way, they've taught you that the only way to success is like this certain type of energy. I'm going to talk about what that is. And now you are trying to apply that same way of being to dating, and it's not working. And that's what this live is about. So let's get into it. So the way that you need to approach dating isn't the way you have approached creating success in other areas of your life in a masculine energy dominated world where it's really push, hustle, work hard, long hours, chase, make it happen. And I bet it's likely that that has burned you out at times. It's caused maybe adrenal fatigue, anxiety, sleeplessness, and it has also given you, which is really great, like a mind that is very logical, can be very analytical, very strategic, where you're kind of controlling everything. And this is part of what's required for the work that you do, right? You are in charge. If you don't do something, it doesn't happen. You are managing other people, which means being the boss, right? Giving instructions, being in charge, or the manager, right? And you have to have this really tough skin so you can keep going, right? So, number one, dating isn't going to work well when you date like you do your career, like you do work, because that's a masculine energy. Are you with me? Just say yes in the comments if you are. So how you show up in work is all using your masculine energy. It's setting an agenda. It's checking in on each item. Am I getting there? It's setting the goal, right? It's organizing and managing people. It's leading meetings. It's making things happen, right? Following up, taking action. It's hustle, grind, make it happen. If I work hard enough, then it will happen, because that's kind of the law of like the amount of effort you're putting in is of course going to bring you back something in return. So it's really understanding how to control resources on the material plane, how to manage the resources on the material plane in the 3D world, right? It requires analysis, structure, planning, goal setting, action, leading, right? So just say yes if you're with me. So it's action oriented towards the future because it's about the goal, and you are the one in charge of getting to that goal with your energy, your action, your managing. And you know what? Like, it actually feels really good to be in charge and to use your brain like that and to achieve success, right? Reach goals. I know I love to. Like, if I do XYZ, then I'll get X results. And I know how it all works. It's a puzzle I can solve. Like, I can win when I exert X amount of time, effort, and action in this particular way. It gives me a result. It works. And so we tend to then show up to dating in that same mentality. So with dating, you found that nothing's worked. You don't have that life partner. Maybe you got close, but it wasn't it. Usually it was an ultimately unavailable man, or a man who wasn't leading enough, or wasn't just showing up for you the way you needed him to, or someone who wouldn't commit to you all the way and you gave it your all. So let's talk about why that is. So with dating, what you are doing isn't working because dating is a masculine feminine energy polarity game. Only one partner can be in the masculine energy. If you have two masculine energies, you don't have polarity. And polarity is like two opposite sides of a magnet. You have the positive and the negative side, right? That's the masculine and the feminine. When you have two opposites, they are attracted to each other. What happens when you have two negatives or two positives is they repel, right? There's no attraction. They can't actually connect. So the masculine and the feminine energies are energies that are like the positive and negative, and we play with them in our lives. In your career, which is an action-oriented world, you need your masculine energy, right? That's what creates results. But you're not trying to create romance and attraction and chemistry and love, right, in your career. In dating, if you want to attract a man who is in his masculine, which means he's action oriented, he's pursuing, he's chasing, he's making things happen, he's asking you out, he's planning the dates, he's texting you, he's calling you, he's taking care of you, he's buying things, he's asking you to go to the next step of the relationship with him, right? He's asking you to be exclusive, he's asking you to be his girlfriend, he's asking you to marry him. You can't also be in masculine energy. Two masculine energies repel, right? So it isn't attractive to that man because he wants to be the masculine energy. These are biological forces at work. This is evolutionary. Men are designed to chase, to pursue, to win over, and women are designed to attract, to receive, to select, and then choose from our options rather than to chase. She is the magnetic one. She's not the action-oriented one in the relationship. So you do have to take some actions to meet him, though, and this is where other types of women can get tripped up. But what happens when we have a lot of unconscious programming, old wounds, traumas, beliefs about our worth and worthiness, or what we can have, or what's possible, that is when we get into a masculine energy with men because of old trauma, old conditioning, old programming, old beliefs that we're carrying. So it shows up as like, I have to chase, I have to pursue, I have to make it happen, I have to make him choose me, I have to prove to him that he should choose me, I have to perform and show up a certain way, I have to convince, and it creates lots of anxiety, lots of doubt, lots of uncertainty, lots of confusion, and ultimately overthinking, overanalyzing things to death, and lots of energy spent doing too much. So all that energy is coming from ultimately from like wounding, trauma, right? With men, with a man in his healthy masculine, it's not coming from wounding or trauma for him. It's natural and normal for him because that's evolutionarily how it's been. That the man needs to prove to the woman that he could take care of her, that he is good enough for her, that he will be devoted to her, that he will be the best provider for her. And protector for her. So men are designed to love the chase. They love challenge and the process of winning something. They love competitions. All of that is testosterone driven. As women, we don't have the levels of testosterone that men do. If we are more feminine essence, which most women are, you'll know you are if you actually desire to be pursued, to be chased, to be claimed, to be wooed, to have that really powerful masculine man want you. You want a strong man in your life. You don't want to be the strongest one. Well, that being the case, then we can't show up in masculine energy as women when we are dating. This doesn't mean your masculine energy is wrong or bad. It's not. It's amazing. We love it, but it's just not the place for it. So we do this though because number one, we have unhealed wounds and unconscious programming. So that's number one. And number two, we don't know any better. We have programming that's just running that is completely unconscious. Where would we learn how to do it differently? Nowhere, right? So let's talk about number one, unhealed wounds. So the same trauma that drove you to succeed, to find a sense of worthiness in doing, to feel safe, to feel good enough, to feel valuable, to have control, where you get your identity from, your pride from, that work, it's the same one that's going to sabotage your chances with men because it's going to put you in a masculine energy. It will put you in subconsciously trying to be good enough or to prove your worth or to get him to choose you in all kinds of covert forms of chasing and convincing and doing too much. So what will happen is you won't be the woman he is falling for. You will be the woman he eventually ghosts, tells he's not ready for a relationship, it's too much too fast, he doesn't think you two are a match, goes on one date but then doesn't ask you on a second date, dates but doesn't commit to you. So that's the man you fall for, and it's typically the unavailable man. You are putting all or more of the effort into the relationship or the dating situation. It burns you out eventually and it leaves you resentful. Or you can't recognize the man who is devotional towards you. It turns you off because you are so in a masculine mode that you're more in competition with men than in romance with them. And he's not able to be the man for you. So even though he is for the woman who is in her feminine when she's dating him. So you think he's not masculine enough, but actually you're just out masculining him. And he's like, okay, she wants to lead, great, that saves my energy, I'll let her lead. But ultimately something feels missing. There's no spark, there's no chemistry, there's not that deeper thing you're looking for, and that's because of the flipped polarity. So due to those unconscious wounds where you are using all that masculine energy to control, to feel safe, to protect yourself, because it feels more comfortable to you, more normal. And then number two, when you don't know any better and you've just got this unconscious programming that you just took on from society, from other areas of your life. And this is because you just don't know any better, right? This isn't taught. It feels unfamiliar to do different. It wasn't modeled for you. Your parents are divorced or have a very depolarized relationship where your mom is in her masculine in the relationship, or you were praised for your masculine energy traits, so you developed those. I know that was true for me. A lot of this is just totally unconscious, not something you realize you are doing, which is why these are just blind spots. You're not going to see them. So dating requires that you really unlearn everything that you've learned that's made you successful. There are so many blind spots that need to be uncovered. So how do I help you shift this? So first, we've got to look at your programming, your conditioning, your trauma, your wounds, and the beliefs that they have created, the patterns that they have created. How are you operating and why? What are the triggers that are coming up for you? What is your programming, your attachment style predisposition? Understanding what it has you do unconsciously so you can choose to do something else consciously once you see it. And we've got to do the inner work around it. We have to shift what your relationship is with your worth, with your identity, with your feelings, with your feminine energy. By doing that very, very deep nervous system healing and subconscious reprogramming work so that you can hold a different energy and feel safe doing it, to be in your body instead of just in your head, to be able to receive more, right? To have the emotional capacity to allow more in so you are able to lean back and trust and allow. Because giving up control is scary when we have unhealed trauma. I know because that was also true in my case. You know, my dad died, and at some subconscious level, I felt like I had to be in charge suddenly. I had to control everything. And part of that was just like to feel safe, right? So that meant choosing men who were more in love with me than I was with them, but then feeling unfulfilled in the relationship, or sabotaging with men who it could have worked really well with, who were healthy and commitment ready, but because I couldn't handle it, I sabotaged it unconsciously. Or chasing and falling for unavailable men because I didn't have the standards and the self-worth and the belief that I didn't have to do that and really didn't know what to look for instead. And then third, we literally just need to change what you're doing, to literally be like, okay, why are you doing that? Okay, why don't you not do that? Stop doing that because that's going to give you X result. This is how to approach the first date differently. This is how to have a first conversation in the dating apps differently. This is how you need to set up your dating profile to attract the kind of man you actually want. How are you screening men? What are you looking for? What kinds of conversations are you having with men, and also from what energy? So you get the inside out approach. Where are these behaviors and actions coming from that aren't serving, so we can heal and get to and rewire that actual root? And then there's the outside in approach, that is just looking at the practical of like literally just change this and you'll get results, right? Some of these things you'll be doing unconsciously. You just don't know how to do it another way. And you just need someone to be like, hey, stop doing that, do this. So I've had clients who have had zero luck with the dating apps, not because she was actually unworthy, not because she wasn't good enough, not even because she had an unworthiness wound, but literally because her profile was speaking to the totally wrong man. It kind of wasn't speaking to anyone. And she was actually through that profile, repelling the kind of men she wanted to meet with her language, her photos, her communication. We tweaked that, everything changed. All the different types of men started flooding into her inbox. It was a very different experience with how they treated her, showed up for her. I've had clients who were frustrated because no conversations on the apps were turning into dates. I tweaked one thing that my client said, and the man she was talking to asked her out immediately. And now he's her boyfriend. They'll be moving in together soon. And she is literally in awe that that relationship keeps getting better and better with time. And her biggest tweak was like a profile and then like what was going on in the conversations. And yeah, there was inner work, but that wasn't what was blocking her from meeting him. So sometimes it's the deep inner thing, and sometimes it's just like, let me help you leap over all this stuff that you're doing that you didn't realize you were doing by tweaking a few things, what's on your profile or what's going on in conversations or how you're just showing up to dates. And yeah, maybe there is inner work, right? And we're going to figure out which it is, and maybe it's both. But I'm all about results. So you're going to be healing for the rest of your life. So this isn't about healing everything. It's about leverage, like seeing the top like 3 things that need to shift to get the result you want, which is that lasting partnership, that amazing, incredible relationship with a committed masculine man who is everything that you want and feels the relationship just feels so good and so right. So we're looking at, okay, what's blocking you? Is it the inner work? Is there a wound here that's causing you to sabotage? Is there a blind spot here? Or is it just like a practical application? Stop doing that, do this instead. I'm here for your results. So when you work one-on-one with me, you get me deeply looking at everything you are or aren't doing, everything that is going on inside, your programming, your conditioning, your beliefs. And you get a mix of whatever you need specifically. That's the beauty of one-on-one. It's very deep and we can handle whatever it is. So it's not just energy. It's not just mindset. It's not just beliefs, because you can heal all day long. But if you don't know what you're practically doing with men, if your profile isn't on point, then it doesn't matter. So we have to do both. We have to look at all the possibilities of what's going on. You have to be taking specific practical actions and steps and avoiding others that aren't working. So learning what that is. And you need to know what to look for. You need to understand, what is the healthy masculine? What does a mature, relationship ready, commitment ready man look like? So to summarize, what got you success in your career is not what will get you success in love, most likely. That is a block for you. So we need to be looking at the masculine, feminine energy dynamics and how you are dating. We need to address the underlying wounds, beliefs, trauma, programming that might have you stuck in that more masculine energy. And you need to learn the specific way to date as a high value feminine woman. So the practical steps to magnetize and attract that right man. And it's really going to be probably a mix of both. So we are going to be doing all the things that you really need. This is why my clients get those results and so quickly. So if you join my one-on-one program, or if you want to join my one-on-one program, I'm accepting applications now for the start of January 2022. There are some spots still open, but one just filled today. So if you want this, if you are interested in this, then you want to act on it. If you're looking for this kind of support, so send me a DM for the link. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can find the link to apply and schedule a consultation call in the description box. So this is for either 3 or 6 months of weekly coaching. You get support outside the container. You get training, videos, resources, whatever you need. I have a whole program. This is deep. So we don't only go into the practical steps like your dating profile, selecting men, identifying men, communication with men, how to date, but also the inner work that you need around your particular blind spots and wounds and programming that are working against you. So this is for you if you are already successful in your career. You are financially stable and doing well, right? You are making close to or above 6 figures, and your life is where you want it to be, except for the man. If you're extremely motivated to find him, then you're an action taker and you're going to implement. If you're single, or you're dating or you're getting ready to date. Not if you are already in a relationship, unless that's a relationship you are looking to leave and then get support to find the right person. You have some level of self-awareness. Maybe you've done some other personal development work or therapy, but you've done some work already. This will just get you results faster. If you haven't, that's fine, but then maybe the 6 months is better for you. It depends on your history. But you are looking for support specifically on relationships and dating and your inner stuff around that, right? And you want to meet the man who is your life partner, your future husband. You're not just looking to date around anymore. You want to understand the unconscious blocks that you have that are kind of holding you back and playing out old patterns, the ways that you are subconsciously just manifesting whatever it is that is in your experience right now, and to understand the practical and apply the practical things as well. And you want to be dating while doing that. For me, I had a belief that the men I liked would disappear. I kept repeating that. I had a belief that I couldn't have it all, so I was settling. And then I just so many other pieces about the practical aspect that I, over the years that I studied this, integrated and practiced and saw the difference when I did those things versus other things in the men who showed up in my life and who stayed in my life. So there are all different kinds of blocks that can show up for you. We will find and rewire yours. And then we'll talk about the dating, the practical aspect, and just what are you doing? You get the support the whole way through. You want someone to kind of be a mentor, a guide for you. You want that support through this process. So we're going to dig into the unique things that you are bringing, how you need to show up specific to you and to the relationship and the type of man you want to attract, your right fit. I've worked with CEOs, entrepreneurs, executives, healers, you name it. So the main block that you have as a high achieving woman is likely this masculine feminine energy dynamic and the practical application of that. So I've been studying attraction, love, and relationships, men and women, for over 11 years. I've applied it to my life. It's how I found my fiance. It's helped me and so many women who've worked with me to find their right partners. And even if they thought that what they wanted was too specific or didn't exist, I guarantee you your standards are not too high. You are not asking for too much. So let me help you get what you want. And if you have any questions right now, drop them in the comments. Or if you're watching the replay, drop them in the comments, or you can send me a message. So if you're the woman I'm talking about, there is this application that I will have you fill out. You will schedule your consult, and I encourage you just to do that. See if this could be a fit, especially if you're really serious about this. Make the decision, now is my year, and just take the jump. You will not regret it. I only take clients who are perfect fits and who are highly aligned to get the best results in my work. So we'll make sure that that is you on the call, answer any questions you have, and then we'll get you ready and signed up if you're ready for that. So DM me for the link, my Attract, Dream, Love 3 or 6 month one-on-one program. If you're ready to find your partner, this is for you. This is not for you if you are not ready for that, if it's not your priority, if you don't have the finances right now for it. Keep your eye out for a group program that may be coming out. And it's also not for you if you don't have the time or not 100% committed to finding that man as soon as possible. But if you are, this is for you. So I'm going to sign off for now. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them. Bye.